Howdy and welcome to the Mighty Muddy Chuck channel. I's a Chuck. It's early in the morning. I started getting up at 4 o'clock and I work from 4 to 9 on computer stuff. Sometimes it'll be like doing these videos. Other times I'll be working on my books or working on websites or whatever. That's I've just started doing it. I'm keep it up. Oh, Chuck, you look like hell. You look like hell, baby. Yeah. I always do, I know. In the early mornings, probably more so. I don't know, in the evenings, I'm so, especially during the summer months, I get out and I work and it's hot and sweaty. And also after I've sweated and so I'm not as hydrated, a lot of times I look even worse in the late evenings. So get up in the morning, look like I got a hangover, or late at night, look like I've worked myself to death. Either way, yeah. So this video is about astral projection and the first time that I didn't really know what was happening or going on. It is kind of looking back, I kind of realized. But before I get started on this, I want to talk a little bit about astral projection rather than the first time that I actually, I'm fairly certain I did astral project. First of all, some people don't believe astral projection is real. They think it's just some kind of lucid dream. That's what they think. And one reason they think that, there's one website that's about lucid dreaming and they're, oh, it's not real. Well, yeah, it is real. But the thing is just like in the previous video I was talking about before I was born and I saw my Aunt Ella rise out of her body and, there was a bunch of us around her and, to greet her, that was remembered through a dream, a repeated dream. Well, sometimes with astral projection, if you're not a lucid dreamer, if you don't always remember your dreams, you may not always remember when you've astral projected. You might not. So those two things have in common. You don't always remember your dreams. You might not always remember when you astral projected. And to add to the confusion, sometimes you realize at night when you are astral projecting and you're there at that moment and it's really happening at that time. That's one experience. And then there's the other experience where you're not actually astral projecting, but you're remembering from when you astral projected in your dream. It's a dream that helps you remember your astral projection. And when you remember stuff through dreams, there's always that question, is this real? Is this a real memory? Or is this just somehow my imagination, is impacting my dream? Because some dreams do come from imagination, obviously. You dream about the monster in your bed, the monster in your closet. Maybe those monsters are real. So a little kid might be watching this video. Oh, Mommy, you said the monsters are real. I don't know. Well, you don't ever know. Now, one of the people that has a website that doesn't believe in astral projection, but just thinks it's a lucid dream, they try to make the point that if it was real, we'd all see the same thing. People report seeing the same thing. Well, first of all, some people lie. They don't astral project. They just pretend they do. Some people always try to make something, whether it's a death experience, they've died and they've left their body, or whether they simply went to sleep and left their body and astral projected. Some people just automatically want to make it some kind of a religious experience. And there are entities on the other side that will jerk your chain. Just like they are on this side. They're practical jokers on the other side. Boo! Just because you don't see the same thing doesn't really point to anything. My experience is my experience. Your experience may be different. We don't all come from the same background on this side, and we don't all come from the same background on the other side. Like when I was talking about, between life experiences, you got one group of people when they relate their between life experience or hypnosis, they make it more like it's more sophisticated. It's more like a boarding school almost. It's a learning experience, blah blah blah. And with some of us, we're just hillbillies. It's different. It's a different. Some people come to this world, where they've gone through some structure on the other side that gives them a leg up in their life. It prepares them for their life, and they get support from that group in their life. And some of those entities or organizations on the other side are college-like. We don't all do that. Some of us are hillbillies, Yeah, junior college is it, baby? Yeah. I like to wing it, honey child. No, don't worry about preparing. I'm just going to go right in there and I'm going to do what I'm going to do. I'm going to enjoy me some fucking, some good eating. I'm going to get me a fishing pole. I'm going to fish. Change the world? Fuck that shit. I ain't changing the world. I don't give a fuck about the world. I'm just going to enjoy my life. That's my goal. That's my ambition. There's nothing wrong with that. We hillbillies. But some people do go through a process where they prepare for their lives. And they basically, in some ways, they actually cheat. Some of these rich people walking around, they've cheated. You're a cheater. They taught you how to cheat. You went into this casino, this casino that we call Earth, and you've got this group of people that's helping you on the other side. They gave you all kind of inside information on which cards to play. You cheated, you fuck. You cheated. You didn't get rich by luck. You didn't get rich by skill. Well, I guess there is skill because cheating involves a great deal of skill when it comes to cheating at life. But yeah, some of these people that are on the top, they got on the top because from the very beginning, they come from these organizations on the other side where they cheat. But it doesn't matter because some of us are perfectly happy being hillbillies. Yeah. So when we astral project, the astral projection may be as simple as find yourself sleeping on the ceiling. You go to sleep in your bed and your awareness, your consciousness, you suddenly realize you're up on the ceiling looking down at yourself. And the astral projection may basically be no more than you being in your bedroom. And the guy that did the website trying to say that astral projection is just a lucid dream and not real, he began his experience by basically trying to force it. In other words, he tried to force the astral projection, and there's processes you can do that. I've never actually been able to force it. It just happens or it doesn't happen. When I was younger, I would do some things, try to repeat the experience because it's a fairly cool experience. But generally speaking, when you try to force it, you may very well just be dreaming or imagining in fantasy. It may not be real. But when it's real, it's real. There is astral projection. There is the other side. This is one reality. There's another reality on the other side. And I just use the term other side because that's a common phrase, and I think most people understand what that means. That means, this side we're alive, breathing, physical. The other side we enter into a metaphysical state. And some people, when they talk about astral projection or between life experiences, they talk about seeing these entities that are, just light. In other words, they don't see physical bodies. When I astral project and I'm with other people, I see physical bodies. I'm a hillbilly. Yeah, none of that deep conscious bullshit. I just a hillbilly. When I'm on the other side, I don't see their nudity. I see them dressed in their body. People walking around just a little light bulb. Bullshit on that shit. Yeah. No. I see people in their bodies. And the body you project, it may be from this, your more recent life. It may be from some previous life. You may be like a 13-year-old child. You may be an old man. You may be, more like you are right then. But you generally speaking, when you're on the other side, you do project an image of yourself. It's like a suit of clothes. And when you're just that little light, let's just walk around nude. Yeah. Get your damn clothes on, babe. I want to see what you look like. I guess on some higher plane or something, or it depends on where you're at. You may more likely see the more the light entity rather than the facade of a body. But when I've astral projected, I tend to see people where they look more just like we look on this side. And some people, well, that just means it's a dream, Chuck. It ain't real. I'm pretty sure it's real. I am. Now, the guy that was just trying to say that the astral projection isn't real, toward the end of his website, not the website, but the web page, he starts that belief in astral projection is dangerous. And I may get some pushback because I sometimes get these religious people in their comments. And when you start talking about the esoteric, the supernatural, and it doesn't fit exactly with what they've been taught from the Gnostics in the Bible, there's pushback. And this guy, belief in astral, I quit reading when he started talking about belief in astral projection is dangerous. What's dangerous about it? Is knowledge dangerous? Is understanding the nature of our being, is it dangerous? Is realizing that you're a prisoner on planet Earth, is it dangerous? Well, yeah, if you piss the superior beings off as keeping us here, yeah, it could get dangerous, I guess. The realization that we are, and and some of the religious people take offense to that, the idea that we're prisoners on planet Earth. But isn't that what the story of Genesis and Adam and Eve is kind of about? Adam and Eve were kicked out of the Garden of Eden. Well, some religious people, they want to look at Adam and Eve as just a man and a woman, the first beings. Where those of us that realize that we have souls that goes back, our existence didn't begin with this life. We existed earlier, much earlier. We look at the story of Adam and Eve as the generations. We are the generations of Adam and Eve. We are Adam and Eve. We were kicked out of the Garden of Eden. We were made a prisoner on planet Earth. Because we pissed the whatever off. And I wouldn't say we pissed God off. I think God's on our side. I think He's with us. But there are superior beings that have us here. They think they're in control. The superior beings think they're in control. And we feel like they're in control. But whenever God wants to intervene, He intervenes. When God wants to slap them down, He slaps them down. When He wants to create a conflict between them, He creates a conflict between them. He's still with us. Our Creator's still with us. He's a super being. He's computer-like. And He's with us. You kind of, I don't say you have to believe that, but it's kind of a warm feeling to believe that. And we're prisoners on planet Earth, but we still have a God that is with us and is our advocate and will take care of us. At some point, we will be freed from this prison. At some point, we will be freed from this prison. Will we be individually freed, or will we as a group be freed? Or is there some variation between that? I don't really know. But I do believe at some point we will be freed. And while we're prisoners on this planet, in this our group of planets, our existence can be hard. It can be difficult. We can be messed with by the superior beings. We can mess with our own heads. We can mess ourselves up. We can just totally fuck up. It's easy to blame superior beings, but sometimes it's us. It's just us. We do it. And you have to realize that, well, you don't have to realize anything. You can just exist and enjoy existing, and there's nothing wrong with that. And even though our existence can be hard, this world's not all bad. It may be a type of prison, but we do have God as an advocate, and we do have moments of tremendous joy here on Earth, in the planet system and the different planes and the different realms. That makes up our cage, whatever. It's just not all hard, and like I said, a lot of times when we're born, it's not like we want to change the world. We aren't part of some organization that on the other side that's been set up where they're trying to accomplish some silliness. We come into this world to fuck and enjoy our existence and good food, swimming in a lake or an ocean, feeling the waves wash over our bodies, human touch, not necessarily fucking, but just human touch, just that embrace. So on the one hand, I said, well, we're prisoners here, and that sounds, oh my God, that sounds so awful. But, our existence is not always awful. It can be awful, depending on our situation. But many of us are blessed. We are blessed. We are blessed by our God, regardless of what the superior beings are doing to us. We are blessed. Some of our situations aren't because we're belonging to some organization on the other side where we're cheating. We're just we're it's not some conspiracy. We're not part of some conspiracy. It's just we're blessed, and that's a good thing. To feel blessed is a good thing. To feel cursed, to feel like every fucking thing's going, and some of us we kind of get in that situation too. It's like everything works against us. You may not have ever been on that part of it, but you can be both blessed and you can feel both blessed and cursed. On the one hand, things, things could be a lot worse than they are, and yet you're not able to achieve whatever you want to achieve. It's like there's this force that's just pushing you back. And sometimes you wonder, am I on the right path? Maybe I'm not on the right path. Maybe that's the reason I'm being pushed back. But the superior beings mess with you. Other people that's more on your level, your equal beings, that's not over the system but part of the system, they mess with you too. The communities of souls, like you may belong to a group on the other side, not some super organization that has some conspiracy, but just a group of hillbillies, Then you may, like when you're on the other side, you may help them out, and when they're on the other side and you're living your life, they may help you out. And it's not some major conspiracy. It's more like family helping family, kind of. But sometimes you piss them off by what you're doing in your life. They want you to go a different direction. They think that you had planned to go a different direction, and you're trying to go a direction that they don't exactly like. they may push back against you. They may try to do things to prevent you from going down a certain path. Sometimes they're right, sometimes they're wrong. We're not perfect. None of us come into this world perfect. We're not perfect on the other side. And we don't necessarily fully understand what this world is on the other side any more than we understand on this side. We have ideas, we have theories, and my theory is that regardless of the superior beings, there is a God above it all, and He's still our advocate. He still loves us. He still will try to take care of us. It's a theory. Sometimes you kind of doubt that theory. The nature of the world is such that you doubt that theory because sometimes you just feel like you've been abandoned, like there's just nothing you can accomplish. It's just like everything's against you. But even in the hard times, it helps to just feel loved by your Creator. So, okay, after all that rambling, this is the first time that I astral projected. And I wasn't aware that I was astral projecting at the time. Instead, it is dreams. It was through dreams that I realized that I had astral projected. And I was 4 years old, going on 5, when this happened. My grandfather had died. And his body, was in the casket at my grandmother's house. The casket was in front of the window in the living room. And that was the wake. And this was on this side, the physical side. And, some people might think, well, a 4-year-old shouldn't go to a wake, shouldn't go to a funeral. But no, I believe that a 4-year-old, 5-year-old is not really too young to begin being taught that what life is and what the end of life is. It's not like I was traumatized by seeing my grandfather in the coffin. It's something I'll always remember. And I'll always remember the last time I was with him. I was 4 years old, and he's taking me to a barbershop, and the barbershop was is down a few roads. He didn't drive, so it was a mill village, and my last memory of him is us walking down the road toward the barbershop and, going into the barbershop. That's my last memory of him, alive. And so, it's not like I was scarred by seeing him in the coffin. I understood the situation. But, like I said, it's a memory that will always be there. And so the dream, the repeated dream that helps me remember when I astral projected, it was a dream where I was back at my grandmother's house, and but my grandfather's coffin had been moved. It was no longer in the living room; it was in the kitchen. And now I was kind of going, why is the coffin in the kitchen? That doesn't make sense. It was in the living room. That's weird. And then in the dream, I realized there's people standing around, just like there have been people, at the wake in the physical world. There were people standing around, and my Aunt Ella was among them, and some of the other people that I remember from when I saw my Aunt Ella rise out of her body, they were there, and we were looking at my grandfather in the coffin, which is similar to in what I'd seen in the physical world, but the coffin was down in the kitchen. And the group of people standing around, of course, were different people. They were deceased people. I was alive, obviously, but I was astral projecting. And so we were standing around and looking at the coffin. And my grandfather's face, it was, frozen just like it was in the physical world. And then my grandfather didn't smile a whole lot. But a little smile came on his face. And his eyes opened. And he rose up into the air. He rose up out of the coffin. And the people kind of cheered a little bit, smiles on their face. And I quickly rushed to embrace him and, greet him and celebrate him, and love him. And even though, it was a dream, I'm fairly sure that because of things that happened later to me, I'm pretty sure that dream was actually a memory of when I astral projected, and I attended what I now know is some groups on the other side, they have what they call a reverse funeral. It's a ritual. I mean, he had already left his body. He had already been greeted, earlier. But it's kind of, like we people, we have our rituals. We have our parties, so there's this. It's a reverse funeral. It's a second time for the community of souls to get together. And not all groups on the other side do that, but the groups that I belong to, the community of souls that I tend to be with, that's something they do. It's a reverse funeral. And that's the first time that I realized that, looking back, now at the time I didn't, it didn't click with me. When I started having these dreams, it didn't click with me at first what I was dreaming, what I was remembering. But later, I kind of figured it out, because that's not the only reverse funeral I've attended when astral projecting. I've attended other reverse funerals when I've astral projected. Some people crash parties. I crash reverse funerals. Yeah, I astral project and attend reverse funerals. Now the guy that is trying to say astral projection is not real. He's that's just a lucid dream, just a lucid dream. Not everybody sees reverse funerals. You're unique. You're very unique. Not everybody sees reverse funerals, so therefore they don't exist. I'm pretty sure they do exist, and at least within the community of souls that I travel with. And when astral projecting, I've attended a few reverse funerals. And now, it's okay if you think all this is bullshit. If you believe something differently, that's cool. I realize not everybody's going to accept what I'm saying and my viewpoint of the world and our existence. But think about it. Just think about it. Or don't think about it. It's okay not to think about it. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed the video. I hope it's provided some information that's at least got you thinking. And hit that subscribe button, baby. Hit that subscribe button. Love you. Appreciate it.